Today's podcast brought to you by Napoli's Pizza, home of pizza. I love it, but it's probably not good for you. Not gonna lie. So if you got a healthy heart and you want to make it a non-healthy heart, jam those arteries full of cheese. There's my boy Jim Baker. I actually designed this logo right here. Probably didn't know that, did you? Some of you even worked there and probably didn't know it. Leah, Ash, who else works there? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Big idea number one still, our first unit, constitutional democracy. But we are all the way on 1C, which has a slew of page numbers that correlate with it. Now, I, of course, have read all of those. And truth be told, sometimes I read those and say, like, what does that have to do with the objective? All right, sorry, I had to pause it. Anyway, so check out our objective there. The Constitution creates a complex and competitive lawmaking process to ensure the people's will is accurately represented and that freedom is preserved. Yeah. Honestly, the more I'm studying and reading different things, that's sort of true. But really, the point of the Constitution is protect property. But anyway, let's dive into this. Crash Course music. All right, objectives. Describe the constitutional principles of separation of powers and checks and balances. So for that, you just have to describe what they are. What is the veto? What is judicial review? What is congressional oversight? Explain the implications. So how are those actually used? And then really kind of an easy objective, describe how the distribution of powers among three federal branches between national and state government impacts policy making. It's easy but complicated. We'll do the easy part because I think it lends itself to a different unit as you talk about actual policy making. So let's move on. Checks and balances. It should be really like checks on balances. And you can see there's the judicial branch made up of the Supreme Court, the legislative branch made up of Congress, and then the executive branch made up of the president, vice president, his cabinet, and of course, what's not included in the general knowledge is the incredible bureaucracy that some of these groups can entail. And you can take a look at the political cartoon back in 2013 suggesting that the executive is becoming more powerful, and it has since its inception in 1787. Part of that is the fact that the Constitution is very limited in what it says the president can and cannot do. So we're living that right now. There's no doubt about it as we become more authoritarian, clearly. So here's the three branches. No, just a SpongeBob reference. I don't know. Look at Wolverine. He's like, what? I'll slash them. Oh, there he is again. So, I mean, there's so many charts online with all this stuff that anybody could check out at any time to look out. So let's just go over them. I don't know where you want to start. Where do you want to start? Let's start with the legislative branch. All right. So I don't know which arrow. So how does the legislative branch, which is given really the most authority, what does it do? So what does it do? It can actually override if a president vetoes something that they pass. It needs a certain amount of votes, I believe a 2/3 majority, which is pretty hard to do. When the executive branch wants to appoint somebody to a cabinet, they have to do it. If there's a peace treaty, they have to approve of it. They declare war, even though there's loopholes in that. The biggest power the legislative branch has is they control the purse strings. The money. You can't do anything in this country without money. They control where it goes. And finally, a conversation that's in both presidencies and the last three presidents have all been, actually the last four. Have they all? Man, maybe I'm just ignorant of the fact, but it seems like since I've been alive, or at least cognitive of political processes, impeachment proceedings have been mentioned, if not gone through, since Clinton. Weird. So you got that. So how does the executive branch check what the legislator can do? They can propose laws. Usually the president doesn't get involved in the lawmaking process, but certainly they will veto them, cancel them out if it's passed. They can annoy Congress by calling special sessions so they can talk to them. And then ultimately, war powers, even though they can't declare war, there's loopholes in that. Treaties. And what's happened is the president's become the figurehead of what America is, even though that's not constitutional. If you look at the word president, it's just you preside over it. Yeah. So what other things there? So you got, let's jump down to the judicial branch there, the Supreme Court and their powers. Basically, they, through Marbury versus Madison, can declare actions unconstitutional of both parties if so. Their job basically is to interpret the Constitution and see if what they're trying to do applies. So where does the judicial branch come from? The president appoints them, but they stay there for life. They can be impeached, the judicial branch. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. I mean, I feel like I'm jumping around here, but just read it. If you don't like this one, read this one. Same ideas, different words, different ideas. Many charts like this. Many charts. The checks to balance society. All right. So where do we learn mostly about this idea? It is in the Federalist Papers. Once again, the idea is stealing from the Enlightenment thinker Baron Montesquieu and his three branches of government, and how the fear is the consolidation of power into one branch will lead to tyranny. So keep them separated. Gotta keep them separate. That's God, what band is that? Getting old. Someone help me out. Someone call on the show when you're hearing this, and you get a free Napoli's pizza if you call in the next 5 minutes and tell me who sings that song. Keep them separated. But we're not going to spend too much time on Federalist Paper number 51. But if you want, you can click on this hyperlink right here, and I'll take you to the full document. But I think the idea is right here. Each branch of government should have its own will. Our current situation is so out of the ordinary in terms of the relationship between Congress and the president, especially when there's majorities. That's why people are scratching their head. The partisan nature of politics right now is very severe, and that they don't have their own will. And again, we'll just have to watch this unfold and discuss it. So, I mean, it's really all about separating power so no one has it. It's a nice idea. It doesn't necessarily exist in the corporate world, which is why you have a president from the corporate world. He might not just get it all. That he can't just do whatever his will wants him to. Yeah, I don't know. All right, my kid's getting too loud. I gotta pause it. I don't even know how. All right, again, just pulling some different things up. To the preservation of liberty, it is evident that each department should have a will of its own, and consequently should be constituted that the members of each should have as little agency as possible in the appointment of the members of the others. So, yeah. So, I mean, the judicial department, permanent tenure, means they stay forever. Why is that a good idea? Why do we have kings, basically? Well, because must soon destroy all sense of dependence on the authority conferring them. They are going to outlast any individual president or congressperson. Therefore, they do not have to worry about alliances. They're still going to be there. This is to give credence somewhat to the idea of the deep state. There are several bureaucratic, namely the military, which also outlast presidents, and therefore the idea of does the president actually have as much power when there's these other permanent or at least semi-permanent groups out there. Dun, 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 lizard people, hashtag gay frogs. Oh, I have a video for you. So, there's all sorts of stuff out there. He has higher standards of production value than I do. But yeah, he'll talk about Federalist Paper number 51 in about 6 minutes. So, if you're really geared up to want to dominate and understand these things, check out everything I present to you, not just my words, but others' words as well. Granted, they've been doing it probably longer than I have. So check that one out on your own. All right, one of the most controversial parts of the Constitution is the impeachment process, which this was obviously a little dated, but using Barack Obama and how it works. So those of you who want Trump impeached, here's the process it would have to go through. There has to be a charge first of misconduct. And if you look at the Constitution, which we will, it's pretty vague on what constitutes wrongdoing for the president. Then the House would have to send it to a committee. They review it. They hold hearings. We're not even to that phase yet. And then the committee would decide whether there'd be a formal impeachment. So if you're impeached, like Clinton was, it doesn't mean you're arrested, you're thrown out of office. It means you go to trial. So let's just jump to 6. Okay, so the House votes on whether or not to impeach a president. If it's approved, it goes to the Senate, and that is then a trial. And the trial will have a judge, and it would be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The 100 senators serve as jurors. So those of you who think Donald Trump's going to get impeached anytime soon, you're crazy, because the Republicans protect their own better than ever. And will line up. You're not going to get it. It's not going to happen in the House. And let's say it did. It's not going to happen in the Senate. The jury would probably just put their Bluetooth headphones on and rock out to, is that band? Oh, we're waiting for a caller. Oh, we do have someone on line 1. Let's answer the call. Hello, who's this? Yeah, this is Mo. Well, hello there, Mo. This is the guy on the podcast. Are you calling about the gotta keep them separation question? Yeah, I am. Mo, well, who is it? Well, yeah, you said I get a free pizza at Napoli's. Yeah, you do, Mo, if you get it right. Do you know it? Do you know it? Yes, the name is The Offspring, circa 1995. Didn't need the year, but thanks, Mo. Yeah, thanks. Love the show. You're awesome. Rock and roll. You should make more money. Peace. Yeah, peace to you. Nice guy, Mo. Nice guy, Mo. Hey, those are my initials. M-O, Mo. No wonder I like the guy. Anyway, check it out. All right, final thing, Article 6 of the Constitution, national supremacy. Look at Uncle Sam, fierce. All right, so here's a great example. Governor Chris Christie, running for president, thought he'd win, didn't. But anyway, all these state rights that are out there, one you're probably, as teenagers, well aware of is in some states there is medical and recreational marijuana that is legal. However, the federal government says it is illegal. All it takes is the President of the United States and the Attorney General to enforce the rules of the federal government, and boom, all those institutions would be shut down. So that's what I mean. Like it's really easy. States do have their own rights, but they can never trump in this case. Yeah, that was weird. If it's on statute at the federal government, it wins. That's it. That's what the Civil War was fought over. We went over that, I think, the other day. Yeah, it was slavery, but only because slavery was established by the states. The federal government took it, made it illegal. That war was fought to say the sovereign is federal, not state level. End of discussion. Just like that says. And that's the same from, like the school board could pass something, but it has to fit within city, county ordinances, and then that has to fit state statutes. There's just it's a hierarchy of supremacy, ultimately, of how that breaks down. So it's another check and balance. It's another way. Remember, the states are more localized, therefore more accountable to the individual people. The federal government is made up more of the elites who supposedly are better. and therefore, and maybe they are because they have more to lose, so they have the final say to eliminate any state law that they find disegregious. I don't know. So, yeah, rolling on. Hey, look at that. Crash Course, checks and balances. Check it out. This guy's not John Green. I kind of like him better. But it's pretty decent. It's pretty much the same thing Ivor said. Again, higher production value. That's pretty much it. So, go back to your objectives, check them out, check the pages out, find the details, take good notes. You'll be testing all this stuff probably the end of next week. I got one more podcast for you. And truthfully, it seems like it's kind of boring content. I don't know. Maybe some of this is. But anyway, at least you don't have to sit in class and hear me lecture. You can do this on your own. Take advantage. By the way, I'm sitting in county right now. Remember, I got arrested on Friday, so I'm in my cell. They're happy enough to let me film this. They understand the importance of education and keeping people out of the correctional facilities. However, though, don't forget to read that article that I gave you. A great, interesting piece about civil disobedience in there, about the idea of breaking the law to actually prove if the law is just or not. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. See you all Tuesday.